Hi, my name is Miss Christy. I am a teaching artist in the PACE program, an art integration program with the Acadiana Center for the Arts in the Lafayette Parish school system in Lafayette, Louisiana. Today we are going to be talking about Kandinsky's artwork. He used mathematics, that's shapes, lines, and color to convey ideas of emotion, and he was creating artwork called abstract art. Has anyone ever heard of abstract art? Well, abstract art is art that isn't trying to look like something we know. It's trying to convey a feeling. So anyone can look at this artwork and decide for themselves what they're looking at. It might make you feel a certain way. It might remind you of something or someone or a place or a thing. But to someone else, it might be something totally different. So today we're going to create artwork just like what he did. We're going to be using shapes. Now, creating shapes can be difficult, so we have tools to help us. So, for example, I have a ruler. Has anyone ever used a ruler before? It helps you make straight lines. And you can see in his artwork, he made very straight lines, like in this triangle painting. He created this triangle, and then there are these beautiful circle shapes, and all on the inside there are many different patterns and shapes. Also in these paintings you can see he did the same thing, where he used lines, shapes, and patterns to convey something. And you can decide for yourself what that might mean. So we're going to use a ruler. We're also going to use a bunch of different sized cups. I have here one from my favorite pizza place. I have a smaller cup. This shape of this size of a circle is smaller than the side of the cup. I have another cup here from the Acadiana Center for the Arts, and it's smaller. It has a smaller diameter. Have you ever heard of that word before? Diameter. That is how big the circle is and how it's measured. So what we're going to do is we're going to use these cups to draw our shapes. Now I'm going to start with a pencil, but then you can pause the video after you draw your shapes and color them in. So let's get started. So I'm just going to go, and I want you to do your own artwork. I don't want you to copy his work, and I don't want you to copy my work. I want you to create your own piece of art. So whatever I do, you do something different. Give it a try. So I'm going to start up here, but you can start down there if you want to. So I'm just going to draw us around the cup, and I have to hold it down tight. I have to really push on it to make sure that it doesn't scoot around, because then that'll kind of mess up my circle. If you ever make a mistake, that's okay. We can fix it because we're drawing with a pencil first. You can draw with your crayons, but go ahead and try the pencil first just to get a feel for what we're doing. So I drew this one, and it's a larger circle than the other side of the cup. So now I'm going to position the cup on the inside, and it's kind of making like a little donut with a big giant donut hole. So there, I have my first shapes. I'm also going to use a ruler, and I'm just going to put lines in different areas. So I positioned this one going diagonal. Has anyone ever heard that word before? Diagonal. Can you say that? Diagonal. That's when a line goes from one side across to the other. Diagonal. Now if I put a line straight up and down, do you know what that's called? That is called a vertical line. So I'm going to draw a vertical line. Now I'm going to draw side to side. Does anybody know what that's called when you draw a line side to side? It's called horizontal. Can you say that? Horizontal. That's a line that goes side to side. So I've already got some lines here. I think I'm going to try and create a pattern now. Often in his paintings he used a kind of checkerboard pattern. So I think I'm going to make one of those. What I'm going to do is just draw some lines side by side. So you can see I have to hold my ruler tight down to the paper so that it doesn't scoot. And then I move it a little bit and draw a line. And I'm keeping it at the same place down here, but I'm moving the top up here. So I created a little bit of a pattern. To create the checkerboard, you would draw across those lines. Now my ruler is see-through, so I can see, but if you can't see through your ruler, you're going to scoot backward across your paper. So I have lots of different kinds of crayons. I love bright colors, so I have neon crayons, I have metallic crayons, and I have regular crayons, and I love to use them all. I've created one on a black piece of paper that you can see here. I used in the same way that we're starting this project on white paper, I did the same thing with this black piece of paper. And I tried to use bright colors. I used white and light blue and light green. And when you do that, color over it very gently. You're going to keep going over it and on the black paper until it shows up. And it just stands out, just like his painting that he did there with a black background on his canvas. So, again, I think I'm going to go ahead and make another circle. I'm going to put one right here. And this cup is nice because it's see-through. So that means I can see that my circle is straight all the way around. And I'm going to put this one off to the side on the inside. So one of the things that Kandinsky did, especially in this painting over here, if you look closely, there are circles that overlap each other. And you can see that like this yellow circle and a red circle and a lighter red circle, that the places where they cross over, there's a different color in there. So I think I'm going to do that here. I'm going to go ahead and make another circle here. And I'm going to start coloring. So remember, you can pause the video anytime you need to catch up. And I'm going to go ahead and use my bright colors. So you would just fill it in. I also like the way that Kandinsky used lines also. So he would color this part pink. And then maybe he would get a darker pink, like this red violet, and he would color that area a different color. So there are different kinds of shapes. Does anyone know what the main geometric shapes are? Does anybody know that there is the circles that we've already drawn? What about rectangles, squares, triangles? What about trapezoids? Have you ever heard of trapezoids? Well, we are going to continue to color all of these little places where we've created these shapes. think. So keep working on those shapes and filling in. So if I have this circle here and I go ahead and do it a dark blue, I usually will trace the shape on the inside and the outside. And it's okay if you mess up. You can just make your circle a little bit bigger if you need to. And go ahead and color that in. I'm going to use black here. So just keep filling in your shapes. All right. Now if I wanted to go ahead and add some small circles, I brought some things up here to make small circles. I have hot sauce. So I have 2 different size hot sauce bottles. In Louisiana we have Tabasco, and it's pretty much on everybody's kitchen dining room table. So I used this in the other paint drawing that I did. You can see it's the same size, so I think I'm going to use that right here. So now that I've gotten used to working with the tracing the circles, I'm going to go ahead and start using the crayon. So I'm going to trace this one with the crayon. This one's a little bit bigger. How about right here? And look around your house for different shapes. You might find a small box you can use to make some square or rectangle shapes. You can create that with your ruler. So I think I might do that. I'm going to put some more lines here, maybe with a crayon. So now that I have a lot of lines and shapes on my paper, I'm going to go ahead and start just coloring them in. Maybe some green. So if you wanted to create a checkerboard pattern, you would go ahead and color in every other square. So for example, in this area right here, I'm going to use a black crayon and I'm going to color a square and skip one and color a square and skip one until I do that whole row. And then on the next row, I'm going to start here with the black and skip one. And I'm just going to go across and skip one until my checkerboard is completely filled in. So you can do any colors you want. Remember, you can pause the video and catch up. Oop, I forgot to color that one in. How about if I make one over here? All right. So I have a little bit of a checker pattern there. I think I want to go all the way down. So I'm going to do that. So we're creating a pattern here. So what else can we do? Alright, so I'm going to switch colors now. So I was doing a black and white pattern, but I'm going to fill in my favorite color, blue-violet, also known as AKA indigo. So I'm going to start filling in my pattern with indigo. And then I'm going to switch to purple. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all of this in. And you can pause the video if you need to. I want you to color all of your lines and shapes. You're going to color them in. For example, here I'm going to color this in purple. But then I'm going to color this in a different color, like a dark blue. Ooh, or a blue-green. All right, so you go ahead and do that, and then press play. Hi, you're back. So I hope you've colored in almost your whole picture. I wanted to let you know something that Kandinsky said. He said that painting was like making music, and that he loved the idea of making music for the eyes. And so this is what I've done. And I'm wondering, what kind of music do you think that is, if it's music for the eyes? I'm thinking that it's very cheerful. So you can see that I colored in a lot of the areas. We talked about all the different kinds of geometric shapes, circles. We talked about lines being vertical and horizontal. And we even talked about a little bit about trapezoids, and that would be a shape like this that's got four sides that are uneven. So what I want you to do, if you want to know how to make these tiny little circles, what I did was I took a crayon and I used the round end of it, the other side of it from the point, and I just put it on the paper and I twisted it against the paper, and it made a little mark, and so it gave me a nice little circle, and so I can color that in. So you can see I made a bunch of those. Whenever you're coloring your shapes in, think about overlapping, so you can see that some things are in the front and some things are in the back, and that gives us the idea that things are layered. So when you're creating your artwork, you can put it away for a little while and come back to it. And you can make it smaller or you can make it bigger. The bigger your picture is, the longer it's going to take. So thank you so much for joining me for this lesson. We will be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. Some lessons will be in visual arts and some will be in creative movement. Be sure to come back and make art with us tomorrow. If you're interested in supporting programs like this, you can go to the Acadiana Center for the Arts website and contact us. The Acadiana Center for the Arts is a non-profit who manages the PACE program that I work for. Use the link and find out all of the information that you might want to know. Thank you so much for joining me.